Are you ready? The wait is over. Young Preacher's Advice, the first ever written publication from Andre Cook. Prophet, overseer, now author, a must-have in your library. Young Preacher's Advice, Volume 1.
Now available on Amazon.com. Or to order your copy of Young Preacher's Advice Volume 1, call 8.
You don't have to worry, you made it through the night. Darkness is over, welcome to the rest of your
Something
life.
good is going to happen to you.
Change your life, change your day, 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 change your life, change your day. Change your life, change your day, change.
Are you ready? The wait is over. Young Preacher's Advice, the first ever written publication from Andre Cook. Prophet, overseer, now author, a must-have in your library. Young Preacher's Advice, Volume 1.
Now available on Amazon.com. Or to order your copy of Young Preacher's Advice Volume 1, call 866-922-6995, extension 118.
You don't have to worry, you made it through the night. Darkness is over, welcome to the rest of your
Something
life.
good is going to happen to you.
Change your life, change your day, 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 change your life, change your day. Change your life, change your day, change.
Are you ready to be empowered, enlightened, and enriched? Get ready. Here's your host for the Change Your Day, Change Your Life Empowerment Conference call, Prophet Andre Cook.
Good afternoon. It is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad in it. And I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Thank you for joining us in the cyberspace sanctuary of the Life Chapel. Yours truly here, the Reverend Andre Cook, considered to be among the most trusted voices in prophecy today. Senior minister, teacher, and pastor of the Life Chapel. One church, 3 locations, Raleigh, North Carolina, Newburgh, New York, and home of the charge service, Hollis, Queens, New York, 182-25 Jamaica Avenue. It is the home of the charge service. Sits on the corner of 182nd Place in Jamaica Avenue. It is a red brick building. It's known as the Firehouse, Lighthouse, Powerhouse, Prayer House. of Jamaica Avenue. And I am excited about today's opportunity to share with you. Let's go ahead and increase our numbers. I see they're still slowly increasing. It is Women's Perspective Wednesday in this very fine month of May. At the ministry, it is Women's Empowerment Month, and this is going to be a Women's Empowerment moment. To tag, like, and share. I do apologize for the late incoming, as I was all set to come to you from the patio of the Prophet's Chambers. And the weather had been accommodating. It rained earlier this morning. It was nice out, even though they said it was going to rain later. And just as I was getting ready to come on live, it started raining. And the rain itself wasn't the issue. The issue was there's a slight breeze and it was blowing the rain, the water upon my back. And then, of course, with the electronics, I didn't want to run the risk of there being an issue. But I also perceive it to be a diabolical interference, because there's something that's going to be said that is going to bless someone on today. What do I often say? You cannot offer to people what you do not have. And something is going to be said today that is going to bless you. I am convinced, cannot be convinced of anything less. Good afternoon to those who are joining. Mother Torres, what a joy it was to see both you and Matoya in service on last night. Blessings to you, Vanessa. Prophet Dawkins, blessings to you. Elder Nisha Jones, blessings to you. Tony Bennett, our partner from Orlando, blessings to you. Women's coordinator of the Life Chapel of Hollis, Queens, New York, Elder Adina Epsom, blessings to you. Also, Diana, bless the Lord, blessings for you joining on today. I see, Deborah, that you're doing what you do daily, sharing with others. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Samantha, shalom, blessings to you. Lynette Burnberry, good afternoon to you as well. Pretty Pat, blessings by you. Touch by Lady, that's Ebony, Minister Ebony, blessings to you. Thank you for joining. Go ahead, continue to tag, like, and share. Tag, like, and share. Again, I am excited about your potentials, your possibilities, your purpose, your endurance, and your future. And yes, there is a personal prophetic word for you today. Something good is getting ready to happen to you, because something good is getting ready to come out of all you have been going through. For we know now that all things work together for the good, for them that love the Lord and have been called according to his purpose. There is a season, there is a time for all things. And for many of you, even what is considered to be one of the most difficult moments of your life, yet you are being sustained. You have survived it, because I want you to relabel the moment as a moment of preparation. You are being prepared for what God has purposed for your life. Bless you. Don't quit. You cannot offer to people what you do not have. But by the time you're through with this season in your life, you're going to have something great to contribute. Alicia, blessings to you. All right. Rakia Mathis, got to be related to our guest on today. So I'll let her shout you out, but thank you for joining. Hey there, Jamie, good afternoon to you. Lachelle, Denise, blessings to you. Deshaun, blessings to you. Latria Davis, of course, from South Carolina. I know who you are. Bless you. Tanisha, Great day to you. Bless you as well. And again, good afternoon to you, Lady Jamie. Praying for you and your family. I am just ecstatic about today's lesson. Now, in just a moment, I'm going to introduce to you our panelists. Today's topic is the entrepreneurial woman. I have been focusing and teaching this month on the focused woman, the woman who is focused. We've been looking at the characteristics of a woman that is focused, because I am convinced that the word that God spoke to Joshua is a word that is non-gender specific, but I am convinced it's important to the women in this hour, because I'm convinced that you are intended to be unforgettable. And what makes you unforgettable is your ability at problem solving. Adam had a problem. God's solution was the presence of a female who would become his wife, who he, Adam, would call Eve, for she would become the mother of all living things. And while we look at that in the sense of procreating, what did she bring to life in Adam? Adam calls her the mother of all living things, the mother of all living things. And so it wasn't just about biological offsprings. And she brought life, or another level of living, into his existence because of her presence. And so what makes women, to me, unforgettable is their ability to solve problems. And she, when focused, you cannot match a woman who is focused. She becomes, as described in Proverbs 31, priceless. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price exceeds rubies. She's priceless. And so when she is focused, unstoppable, unforgettable, unstoppable. And what makes or helps her to be focused is her ability of discerning. So a discerning woman is a focused woman, and a focused woman is a successful woman. The Bible says this again in Joshua chapter number 1, verse 8. After the death of Moses, God speaks to Joshua, gives him the assignment that he and the people was to prepare victuals for. In 3 days, they were going to cross over onto the other side. Then the father goes ahead and continues to instruct Joseph, this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. You should meditate in it day and night. For then, if you would observe to do according to all that's written therein, then thou will make thy way prosperous, and then thou wilt have good success, and thou shalt have good success. And I am convinced, ladies, you're in an hour of good success. And if you eliminate one of the letter O's in the word good, then you have God success. Then you have God success. Oh, my God. I'm getting excited. I can't wait to introduce our guest today. I am certain they're going to blow us out of here on today. I'm telling you. Let me just share this with you, and then I'm going to bring to you our guest today. An entrepreneurial woman is a female who organizes and manages business, who manages a business or enterprise. She's driven by a desire to create something new or improve an existing enterprise, often taking tasks to achieve her goals. Many successful female entrepreneurs have made significant contributions to various industries, demonstrating resilience, vision, and collaboration. A more detailed look at the characteristics and motivations of entrepreneurial women are these key characteristics: vision and ambition. Entrepreneurial women often have a clear vision for their business and are driven by a strong desire to achieve their goal. Also, resilience and perseverance. Entrepreneurial women, they are able to overcome challenges and setbacks, demonstrating a strong determination to succeed. Another set of characteristics of a successful entrepreneurial woman: emotional intelligence and empathy. She understands her own emotions and those of her team members, fostering a positive and supportive work environment. Also, collaboration and networking. Entrepreneurial women recognize the importance of building strong relationships and leveraging networks to support their business. Also, creativity and innovation. They are able to think outside the box and develop innovative solutions, problem solver, to problems. Also, they're purpose driven. Many are driven by a desire to make a positive impact on the world, using their businesses to serve a higher purpose, God's purpose. Here's their motivations: independence and control. Entrepreneurship allows women to be their own boss and control their own destinies. Also, passion and purpose. Many women are driven by a passion for the industry or desire to address a specific need in the market. Financial success is a motivation. While not always the primary motivator, many entrepreneurial women seek financial independence and the opportunity to build a successful business. Also, her motivation is making a difference. Many women are motivated by a desire to make a positive impact on the world, using their businesses to serve a larger purpose. And with that, examples of successful female entrepreneurs include Oprah Winfrey, Sarah Blakely, Coco Chanel, Anita Roddick, Estee Lauder, and our guests, who I present in less than a minute. I'm going to talk, after I introduce them, about the challenges that are faced as well by entrepreneurs, particularly female entrepreneurs, such as funding, networking, confidence, work, and life balance. And so, examples of successful women have joined us today, and I am excited to present them to you. I'm bringing them on, and as I bring them into this space, I will introduce them after I get them all in the room. Go ahead in the comments. Yay, 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 yay. Go ahead, share some love, share some love. Boy, this space is lit up today. It's usually just my big head, but these beautiful women who are women of God, who are in ministry, who are entrepreneurs, have joined this space, and I am excited for you because I am convinced they have something for you. They have a contribution for you today. So let's get with it. On the top, to my right, maybe your left, Dr. I've never gotten the first name right. Dr.
Tonyan
Schoefield. Blessings to you.
blessings.
Welcome. She hails from Salisbury, North Carolina. Several businesses: the House of Tea Grace Wellness Boutique, Fit for a Queen Medical Facility, Eagle Eye Diagnostic Lab. And again, she's the pastor of the Citadel of Life Community Church. To my lower left, You're right. A member of our church, a spiritual daughter, Dr. Shirlonda Brailsford Cook. That's what I call her. And she is the owner of She Michelle. It is uh, a salon, and then she also has several products for hair. The one that thrust her into a great level of visibility and prominence. Gold drops, gold drops. She hails from Brooklyn, New York. Again, associate minister of our church. Recently acquired one of her doctorate degree, and then she's also developing a parachurch ministry called Beating Hearts Behind Walls, and she'll share more with you. And then from to my right on the bottom, I guess your left, Dr. Stephanie Mathis, Sumter, South Carolina, several businesses. Oh, it's hot up in here already. Blessed Hands Beauty Salon, Carolyn's Closet Boutique, Prestige Solution, pastor along with her husband, Triumph Ministries, and then of course Prophet Stephanie Mathis International Ministries. Ladies, good afternoon to
Good
you.
afternoon.
Thank you. Would you first, Dr. Schoefield, would you greet us?
Good afternoon, Prophet. Thank you so much for having me. And please forgive my medical background here. I am actually at the hospital, but I could not pass up this great opportunity to share with all the women that are out there that are interested in being an entrepreneur. I am so honored to be a part of this great panel with these amazing women of God, both whom I know. And I'm excited to hear what they have to say. So thank you again.
Wonderful. I appreciate you. Dr. Stephanie Mathis, blessings to you. Please greet us.
God bless you, Apostle Cook, and to these great women of God that is here. I am super exuberant being here today. It's just an honor to be here and to share our journey and what the Lord is yet doing in this season.
Thank you. Dr. Shirlonda Brailsford, would you greet us?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. I am overjoyed and excited to even be on this panel with these amazing women. I got my pen and my paper, and I'm ready today to learn. So let's just get into it.
It sounds like you're here to extract versus contribute.
I'm going to contribute, but I'm going to do some extracting too.
I figured that was the case. I figured that was the case. I know your spirit. I know your works. Mm-hmm. Well, let's get to these questions that are being posed, and let me just bring them up again. If I seem a little rushed and winded, I was rushing to get in this space because again, I was all prepared. I was outdoors. You guys know how I feel about this time of year, and I like to come to you outdoors. Anytime that the weather is accommodating, I like to sit outside. I like to be outside in nature. And then this old crazy weather decided it wanted to do something that it wasn't supposed to do. But I'm all right. We're here. And so let me bring up the questions, and we're going to get started. And I'm going to start with you, Dr. Schoefield.
Yes.
And here we go. Now, what's going on? I got everything all prepared. I wanted to sound intelligent, and then I knew who I was going to be sitting with. And here we go. All right. So here's the first question, Dr. Schoefield. How do you manage and balance your business and ministry?
Well, to be quite honest with you, Prophet, a balancing act is not as easy as some may think. I personally live with a schedule. I'm up very early, I stay up very late. And because I manage so many different entities, um, my number one day starts off with prayer. Prayer actually keeps me very focused. And that's just not a cliche. If I don't pray, I'm not always in a good mood because pressure comes when you are dealing with all aspects of society. So not only do I run my local business, I also work with the local government in my city.
Mm,
So there's a lot of pressure. I'm a mother, which I enjoy being. I have a son in college. And so all of those things start with prayer. If I don't take time to seek the face of God, and schedule, literally, and I have a great team. If I did not have my husband and my children who are also work with me, I would not be able to do all of the things that God has allowed me to do. And thanks be unto God, I'm very successful at it because of prayer.
wonderful, because of prayer. Dr. Mathis, the same question. How do you manage and balance your business and your ministry?
Yes, I literally have to balance. I can piggyback off of Apostle Schofield. Prayer is my foundation. And even if we don't seek Him, how will we be able to get our next direction, get our next and set of instructions? And so, with balance in ministry and business, I literally have to have intentional planning. I have to have it set before me. I have to write sticky notes to make for sure that I am incorporating everything for that day. And then I have to have clear priorities. I have to
Mm,
make sure that I am prioritizing what needs to be first and what needs to come next. And then the last thing, I believe that I have to have a heart of those that I am serving. With having compassion and to make for sure that I am going to achieve this balance during that day. And even with you saying having balance in ministry, I often say if I cannot align both of them together, something would be lacking. And so I believe of having the compassion, just not only for ministry, but for the business as well, for each and every person that I am serving, whether it's the entity of business or ministry.
wow, awesome. Dr. Shirlonda, the same question. How are you managing and balancing both business and ministry?
Prioritizing my time. I work with the schedule also, and I can tell the difference when I do not follow my schedule. It has been times when I'm traveling, I've even had to schedule times to pray
Wow.
because that extra 5 minutes, that extra 30 minutes, it makes a huge difference to be able to hear from God clearly. The other thing that I am is prepared for setbacks. So even after speaking to the day and speaking to the Father, prioritizing my time, I have to understand that I'm dealing with humans and someone
Mm,
is going to be late. So being prepared for setbacks is one of the most uh, it's the best thing that I could have ever done was schedule out time for things not to go the way that I prayed them to or the way that I prioritized them on my list of things to do for that day.
I am curious, just out of curiosity, Dr. Schofield, with all that you have going on, the unexpected, how do you handle, since we're talking about balance, how do you handle the unexpected?
Well, to be really honest, unexpected happens every day. When you're
Mm,
working with people on a continual basis, I work with a schedule even in my company because I see patients every day. So of course somebody's late. But I believe that my attitude always directs the outcome. It is how I respond. And so because I've tried throughout the years, I've made so many mistakes that I had to learn how to harness my emotions. Okay.
mm,
Everything that I think don't need to be said and everything I feel does not need to be displayed. And so that is how I handle the unexpected.
awesome. Dr. Mathis, same question to you. How do you handle the unexpected? I mean, because what's common here, you all mentioned the importance of time management, prioritizing your time and schedules. And while it is about you ladies, it's a women's empowerment moment, it's triggering something in me in that it seems as if the unexpected is always a problem for me. Once my schedule is thrown off, my schedule is thrown off. So, Dr. Mathis, I'd love to hear from you on this thought.
How I normally would handle the unexpected in the unexpected is pausing before I'm reacting. And not only just pausing before I'm reacting, once you have gotten whatever the unexpected is, gather the issue, and then determine how the outcome can end. Because if we don't gather the issue, what we don't confront, it will continue. And so I believe that is one of the goals for targeting the unexpected.
Excellent. Oh my, that's awesome. Dr. Shirlonda, how do you handle the unexpected?
I wasn't always that polished. So in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, what's happening? And then the more I realized that the more you do for God and the more you work towards what his plan actually is for your life, the more hiccups are going to happen. So what I started to do was just make them a part of it. And each day learned and taught the next day. Because I can start out with 5 things to do and 4 things will get done. And then I would come home and say, what about that one thing? That was the most important thing. But I had to understand that whatever I set out to do, the enemy is standing right there saying, I'm not going to allow you to do this. And then it just changed the structure and the way that I flowed through running businesses and handling school and balancing our family.
Yeah, because you've got a major schedule as well. Recently a grandma, G-mom, and so you're dealing with that as well, and then still finishing up your schooling, and wow. All right, Dr. Mathis, you'll start us off with this second question. As an entrepreneur, what's your first priority, business or ministry?
I must say, for me prioritizing, it has to be ministry first, because if it's aligning with what I am actually doing, my life is centered around and first and foremost for God. So ministry is first, but I can also say, Dr. Cook, is that I can incorporate those both, with having the ministry and business, because anywhere that I am going, I'm always going to incorporate business and ministry, because I'm always serving, being a professional cosmetologist, being a final expense specialist, and a boutique owner. I'm always able to incorporate, but I must say that ministry is always first.
My God, this is whew, my. Y'all got me writing notes when I go out, I'm writing, because I'm like Dr. Shirlonda. I've come into this space to learn, to glean as well. Dr. Schoefield, again, the question is, as an entrepreneur, what's your first priority, business or ministry?
I love the question, but I would say my first priority would be God, my family, then ministry, then business. Business is always last, because I believe that if I seek ye first the kingdom, everything else will be added. And so I've learned throughout the years that as long as God is first, and never neglect your family duties as a wife, a mother, because a lot of times in ministry or business, everything becomes about money. And money cannot be the ultimate goal. So serving people, as the woman of God has already said, is what I do every day. I work with cancer patients. So for me, I'm always sharing, we don't have to die here, and there's still more life left. And so I'm always speaking to the disease so we can bring a finality that God is still able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ever ask or think.
What's unfair, before I move to Dr. Shirlonda, I'm sitting here, I'm taking notes, I'm thinking, and I'm saying to myself, boy, what's so unfair is that you ladies are not in a room, in an in-person, intimate setting. And I've just made up my mind. I don't know how I'm going to do it, when I'm going to do it, but it's going to be before the end of the year. I must bring y'all to New York in this space. You've got to bring this. I'm just a proponent and a supporter of women overall, because it isn't convention talk for me. I really believe that God's intent for women is to be chief problem solver. Now, that language is problematic for some men, but it is my belief. I'm a biblicist. I believe in the Bible, its principles. Genesis, the book of beginning, is where we find the law first mentioned. And when there was a problem, the first problem that was presented when Adam was alone, God assessed it wasn't good for him to be alone. And he brought to Adam the female, the woman who would solve that problem. And then the being a child of seven, but being the only boy, I watched my mother manage as a homemaker, working. I watched her take care of both myself, my siblings, six sisters. Then my father was a business owner. She was a partner with him in business, and I watched her. I watched her fulfill all those duties and roles, and yet not get what I perceive the proper recognition until her death. And that happens with many people. It isn't until a person dies. It's like everybody wants to eulogize, and but then being a pastor, women of God, being a pastor, being an itinerant ministry gift and a prophetic voice. The ministries that I've come into contact that seem to carry the greatest impact are led by women. And as I said last night, and our service on last night, I said, as far as I'm concerned, there wouldn't be any ministries of any size if it wasn't for the ministry of women, because most ministries start with women praying. And so my church, what, 32 years, 33 years now, it started with 4 adults and 7 children, and the out of the 4 adults, 3 of them were women, and I was the only man. And they gave birth to this ministry. And so I'm just convinced that when you guys are properly recognized and positioned, and there's a prophetic word I gave years ago, the Lord said that America would not experience its greatest days until 2 classes of people were properly recognized and restored. Women, number one. And so I believe this. And so, ladies, I'm already inspired and encouraged. I got to have y'all in a space and then just lock you guys in a room with the women of the ministry, because I believe my next is tied to their wholesomeness.
Absolutely.
If women are whole, then I can, I said to them last night, Dr. Schoefield, Dr. Mathis, don't fail me. I need you to rise so that I can elevate. I can't elevate with you being on the same level or these moments and setbacks. Dr. Shirlonda, I'm so sorry. And Elder Jones is probably viewing this. She tells, oh, you get to go and you get to go. And I'm sorry, y'all. I promise you, no more commentary. I'll let you guys answer these questions, but it just is what it is. All right. So, Dr. Shirlonda, what's your first priority, business or ministry?
I'm going to say my business. I take from Proverbs 16:3, and it states to commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. And I use that, and I choose business first because I didn't know who God was and how amazing he was and how truthful he was until I saw what he did in my business. This business that allows me now to take care of my family and to flourish in the prison ministry and things of that nature. So that's where he made our introduction. That's where he showed me who he was. So I take my business very serious, because before he gave me an identity that I can understand and relate to, he gave me a business to tend to.
Wow, that's powerful.
I like that.
Yeah, you know, as much as I know her and the time that I spend with her, these moments are still revealing. They're still revealing, and I can see, Dr. Schofield, I can see why she would say that, because it's her story to tell, but I know her history,
Right.
and in light of what she didn't have access to, it was through prayer and it was through a prophetic word that launched her into business. And it was through launching into business I saw her come to know God and to come into God. Uh, she wasn't church, she wasn't saved. Actually, I called her name in a service where she wasn't even in attendance. Her cousin was in attendance, and I called her name, and that was on a Sunday afternoon. And the following Tuesday, she showed up at church. I called her out, would give her the same word without knowing she's the same person.
Wow.
And then God would give me, and of course, to God be the glory. God gave me the name of her business, the name of her product, Gold Drop. And then from all of that, and God gave me through intercession to keep her from a federal case and prison time. So to hear that is so revealing. I certainly appreciate that.
Love it.
Dr. Shirlonda, we're
Yes.
going to start with you. The next question: as a woman of God, how do you handle conflicts that arise in your business? And this is interesting because I'm recalling a situation.
Okay. Yes. So there was a situation, and I have to take into consideration where where you met the person, because there was a situation where we had to get the pastor involved, and this person had then signed a contract and everything. And I had to do things God's way, because at that present time, I no longer stood as the trichologist, the hairstylist, or the esthetician. I stood as a woman of God. And I realized that God's word, his statutes, and who he is in my life had to be bigger than the down payment, than the deposit. And I refunded the client. Um, I had to be slow to take offense and quick to reconcile. But it was a journey, and it taught me a lot about who I stand up as, even in my businesses. I am no longer Shalonda. I am a woman of God. And although I have contracts and things of that nature that will follow through in any courtroom, the only courtroom that I need to be concerned about is the one I will have in the audience of God. So I took the high road. And I must say, though, the money I gave back, I tripled that money before the closeout of that month. And I remember the conversation you and I had, Pastor. I was crying because I didn't want to give the money back, because I was right in my feelings. But when you explained it to me, you said God will bless and God will restore. And it was another opportunity for me to see his hand in my life. So that's what happened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember that moment. I remember how emotional you were, how defensive you were, and how right you were. But in that moment, remembering, because I was inspired by God to share with you the direction that you should take, and I believe it was a test of your integrity, your character, your godliness, and then we turn around and watch God bless you. I mean, it's the way that He has blessed you since. It was amazing. But you know, as I'm teaching now, um, integrity, the pathway to ascension. You know, character is important. And what the challenge was, what was it going to cost you if you allowed that little money to pull you into this fight? You know, sometimes you gotta prevent hurting yourself by hurting others when you're right. So sometimes you have to suffer the wrong for the right and for the blessing. But I watch God. Dr. Schoefield, as a woman of God, how do you handle conflicts that arise in your business? And boy, am I interested to hear.
Well, by nature, I somewhat prophetically have a passive aggressive relationship with people. I can be very passive, but then there's a side that I can be very aggressive. My husband says to me often, he said, I wish you would just say things before you get mad. Before you get upset, like just like girl, could you like say it before you really want to just cut them down? And I had to learn. First thing I had to learn to do was seek resolution. Okay,
Mm,
God, how can I resolve this without defaming myself, defaming the kingdom of God, defaming my ministry? How can I handle people without me just losing it? I'm a former police officer, so to be really honest, I still have that spirit of cussing on the inside of my soul. And so I have to watch the spirit of cussing. Hallelujah. And because it's a second language to me. And so, and so I had to learn how to resolve things in a godly manner, right? With collaboration and forgiveness. You can let some things go. Maybe some people won't ever say this, but I will. We can let some things go as if it doesn't bother us. But the whole time you sitting there saying, I know you didn't do that. Like, I know you just didn't try me like that. Like
yes,
I didn't send for you, so don't come for me.
yeah,
So I had to really, really work. And I'm being honest, I have to really work at not allowing people to bring out the woman that I thought was dead, that sometimes seems to still be on a respirator. Okay. So prayer, seeking resolution, and learning how to pump my brakes
yeah.
before the real me show up. That's all.
You know, I love you. The first time I heard you minister, Newburgh, New York, my spiritual son and his wife had brought you to town.
Yes.
Oh, you a trigger. I don't know what the trigger was, but when that trigger hit, you came forth. I said, "There's a little thug in there." She's my type of girl. That's my girl right there. And I said, I got to have. I think we tried to schedule immediately that night. I said, I don't care what you do, you got to get her to New York. And I so appreciate you. I appreciate your transparency, your honesty,
Honest.
and it comes across. And I think this transparent moment is more helpful
Yeah.
than the sanitized, polished. Now I'm still getting to know Dr. Mathis, and she's always an image of poise. And
She
see,
is. I love her.
when I met Dr. Schoefield, within about 10 minutes into her message, she was all out and she was committed. And I hadn't met them before. I was beating on her husband like we was best of friends. I was like, I, I can't take it. So, Dr. Mathis, your answer to the question, as a woman of God, how do you handle conflicts that arise in your business? Your
I'm gonna be
business is.
Yes, I'm gonna be honest through here. I can relate to Dr. Shirlonda with coming up in life and having to work hard for everything that me and my husband have. I mean, with our hands. So I have to assess the stakeholders who
Mm,
are those that are involved in the conflict, because you will have some people that are prairie chickens that are coming to bring down your business. To make you look
mm,
bad or to have a bad name.
mm,
So I like to
It's
assess
true.
stake holders. I call them ground feeders. The ground
mm,
feeders are those that have never left their zip code. They're not even trying to do anything with their life and trying to get something for nothing. And
mm.
another thing that I want to say for the conflict in business, identify what the issue really is, because every cause
That's
there's
right.
an effect. and then have an ear to
It's true.
listen. I have to constantly replay this scripture in my head. A soft word turns away wrath,
Yeah.
but a harsh word stirs up anger. And I must say what Dr. Schofield says. Sometimes that girl may be on life support, that girl. So
No, not you too. Not you too. I
I'm
was holding out hope that there was one among the bunch. Not you too.
and so we're working hard, for what you built,
Absolutely.
the empire that you built, and nobody, did it with you but you and your husband, or those brainstorming ideas. So you have to really assess the stakeholder, and some things you just got to eat. Let them
Mm,
have it. Just let them have it,
It's
because
true.
at the end of the day, the truth will be told, and withstanding to being a woman of integrity, character, and a woman of excellence.
yes. Yes. Oh, that's powerful. Ladies, you guys have made my day. Just again, these transparent moments. And so here is our final question. I'm gonna start with you, Dr. Mathis. What advice would you give to another woman or other women about starting business?
I would give another woman, as far as starting a business, make for sure that she's concentrating on her target. Know the people, or the community, or the audience that you want to target, and make for sure that you have those type of savings, have some type of cushion, that if you have the unexpected, that you will be able to still breathe and to navigate your business. And the last thing that I would like to share with a woman that would want to start a business: make for sure that you have somebody that you can look up to, that have done what you are striving to do.
So mentoring is
Mentor.
important.
Mhm.
Mentoring, and of course, Dr. Schofield, same question. What advice would you give to another woman or women who are starting or would desire to start business?
Let's pick up that word mentorship. I think a lot of times we go into business because it's a great idea. The IRS says that after 5 years, if you've made no money in that business, it's a hobby. So
Oh
you
my,
have to know what is really a business and what is a hobby. Some of the things that we're calling businesses is simply because someone else has done it and we think we can do it better. It's almost like preaching. You can preach a great message, but because I'm sitting in the seat, I think I can do it better because I think I know more until I have to do it or have to work against the crowd. So it's important to have people. Number one, as the woman of God has already stated, you need to be able to know your target audience. If you don't know your target audience, you don't know who you are trying to affect or to work with, then you need to make sure that you stop first and figure that out. Second thing is this really a business or this is just something I like? Maybe I'm a second man and not a first. So you have to know when you are not really called to it to start it, but maybe to undergird it. And so if you're going to start a business, find that mentor, that prophetic eye, that person that'll say, baby, that's not for you. Let's choose something. Stop saying you want to do a daycare, you don't like kids.
Right.
hey,
Good.
You
excellent.
know, you got to kind of know those things. And that's what I would say.
Excellent. I often say to budding preachers who are ascribing to be pastors, you're not a pastor when you don't like people,
Mhm.
Right.
because pastoring differs from preaching. You can be a great preacher with being a poor pastor.
Right.
Pastoring requires a heart for people. You got to have a heart for people. You have to love what God loves. That's flawed people. So you can preach for them all you want all day long and preach to them all day long. But if you're going to pastor them, you have to have a heart, and you have to
Mhm.
have a heart of
Correct.
God for people. Dr. Shirlonda, what advice would you give to another woman or women who are thinking of starting business?
I'll have to concur with my sisters already stated. You got to know that this is where you're called, because sometimes we look on social media and you see a business flourishing and you thinking I can do that in my area. And when those weeks come where there's more loss than profit, can you still stay in the rain? So you have to be knitted in it from the heart, not from the pockets. And
Mm,
whatsoever Jesus says to do, do it. You have to pray. You got to tithe off of that business, even tithe off of
Amen.
it where you want it to go. That was a big
Amen.
deal for me with the first location and the second location. And then when I moved on, because whatever I wanted God to do in my business, I had to show him through my willingness to give that business back to him. So you have to be grounded. You have to know that he called you to it and be able to separate whether or not it's a hobby or if this is something I need to go in full pursuit of, because my house went lacking so that my business could flourish. I remember getting a one-shot deal to pay my apartment's rent so that I could pay the mortgage on the building. So it wasn't easy, but at the end of the day, because
You
God
did it.
called me to it, I was able to go through it the
Yes,
way that
sir.
I was. So
That's good
Yeah,
right there.
I like that. And then again, knowing you so closely and being intimately involved in your launching your business, doing your business, all that, and seeing all this, just one thought comes to mind, and then I'm going to release you all because, again, time management is key to success, and each of you are professionals and business owners, and you got other things to do. But I remember, I think it was when God started blessing you with money, and you started questioning, should I tithe? Since you brought it up, and I think it was easy to give God the $40, and then when you
the
started getting those,
$40 was extremely easy. The $50, the $120 was easy. But when I started working for the network and I'm getting checks, I'm like, now hold on. Now let me go back to the scripture and make sure. And just being obedient, Pastor, because you even told me to close 2 businesses.
yeah,
The Lord
The
said for me
word.
to close 2, and I closed both of them. So
yeah,
that was another piece. Like,
yeah,
I don't think you could be an entrepreneur without that God piece. You need God.
yeah.
You
But
need God.
Dr. Schoefield shared an important part. To see, again, the one thing I appreciate about you, you've taken to heart the instructions that no major life decisions should be made without consulting the prophet,
Yes, sir.
especially
Yes,
when your
sir.
pastor is a prophet. And there's nothing in your life, maybe it is, and I'm just unaware of it, but when you have major decisions or decisions to make, you will consult with me.
That's right.
And you will allow me to share with you what God says in an inspired moment, or what wisdom I've extracted over 40 years of ministry and so on. And because I planted this work and others, so I technically as a business owner. So when I share with you, you don't delay. You'll move quickly. But it goes with what Dr. Schofield says. And she highlighted for us, listen, anything that the IRS says, anything done for 5 years, I believe you said, and it's not making money, that's a
It's a
hobby.
hobby.
Yeah. And I've said that to individuals, said, listen, this is a hobby. And the time that you're giving it without it earning you money is wasted time. You're
It's
wasting
wasted.
time. And time is something you cannot get back. And when you're employed, people are hiring you for your time, and with your time comes your skill set. But you can't thrive at what you're to do when you're wasting time with something you shouldn't be doing. And so knowing the difference. Ladies, virtual hug. Know that Prophet Cook loves you
We
both.
love
And
you.
I'm so grateful that you answered the call, that you would come into this space. I want to thank those who are supporters of yours. I've seen the numbers go up and down on the various platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. They're coming in, they're getting what they need, and they're going out. I'm certain they're members and family members of yours who have come in. I want to thank them as well. Thank you. I appreciate you again. But I would pray that, and Elder Nisha Jones is going to jump on this sooner than later, that we could do something again, even if I have to bring it to one of your areas, make it centrally located, because I just believe that people will invest in what's going to help them.
Yes.
And I know that to be
We
true.
will.
And I appreciate the divine connection. I appreciate you accepting me, and just being able to call you and for you guys to come into this space. I appreciate it. Hey, all of you that's watching, listen, if you so desire, you know what we do every day. Today is what? Today is Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's the 4th day of the week. So I'll ask you for a $4 seed if you so desire, or in the lost for words right now. I'm so busy trying to get y'all guys out of the space. Derivatives of 4, 8. 12, 16, 20. And so if you desire, you can so that the way that you can give, I'm going to put it on the screen in just a minute. There's bottom of the screen, Cash App, $ charge, Encounter, PayPal, Rev Andre Cook, Zelle, Rev Andre Cook at AOL.com, corresponding address, Andre Cook Ministries, 19 High Ridge Road, Suite 8234, Stamford, Connecticut, 06905. The app Givelify, Andre Cook Ministries. And certainly we appreciate you. Again, Dr. Mathis, Dr. Schoefield, Dr. Brailsford, know that Prophet Cook loves you and appreciate you. And I'm grateful to each and every one of you. Remember these words on today. If it's not on your mind, it's not in your future. Elevate your mind, your feet will follow. You do not offer to people what you do not have. You cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. You're to make your smile your style. Someone's watching you that can greatly bless you. Your smile is the law of attraction. Your frown is the law of repel. And God's prophetic word for you on today. Remember, something good is getting ready to happen to you, because something good is getting ready to come out of all you have been going through. God's blessing be upon you. Shalom, shalom, shalom.